As you can see, this is Capernaum, and it's also called the town of Jesus because we know for sure that this is the site of the biblical Capernaum. This is the town that was called in Matthew 9, Jesus' own city. When he left Nazareth, he came right to Capernaum, and he lived in Capernaum for the rest of his life. But the important thing here are the ruins down below us. As you can see, there's stone walls and a kind of a circular shape. In the center of this place was a house in the first century during the lifetime of Jesus, very close to the synagogue. And you see why that's important. We'll understand why that's important in a moment. Many miracles were done here. Many of the most famous teachings took place here. This is a genuine archaeological site from the life of Yeshua. Well, welcome to our home. We live in the little community of Poriya Elite, which is overlooking the Sea of Galilee. When we bought this home 22 years ago, none of this garden was here, but we felt that the Lord wanted us to make it fruitful, just as the name of this community is Poriya, which means fruitful. Hi, beloved.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Having a good day?
Yeah.
Love you, Fling Fling.
We're here 34 years. When we walked in the door, I was flooded with the peace of God, and I knew this was going to be our home. I know that many doors for me have opened, and I'm a seed planter, and I have a purpose here in this country. I know that I do. Well, when we first moved here 34 years ago, one of the first people I met was this woman here named Polly, who was pregnant at that time, and her husband was killed in an automobile accident. I began to get to know her and tell her that she really needed Jesus. I was able to show her that Jesus was the Messiah for her. And she believed me and she accepted him. She had 3 children, and they've been in our lives ever since. The boys have all grown. They have their own children now. And we have regular holidays. We get together. They are part of our family here, the family of God.
This little community has always had a large percentage of believers, and there was no local congregation here.
He gave us this home. He intended to start a congregation here. We really didn't know that. We just knew that God showed us this was our place.
Yeshua chose to move to Capernaum to establish his ministry. This is where he lived during his whole entire ministry period, 3.5 years. He was headquartered in this place. Capernaum was a fishing village. Several of the disciples actually grew up in this area and lived here most of their lives. It's a fishing village. This is Capernaum. Now, come with me. I want to show you something else really interesting about Capernaum. This is a house that was there in Yeshua's lifetime, and it's believed, and there's good reason to believe that this was in fact the house of Peter the Apostle. And it's just thrilling to be able to see this place and look at it. The stone walls below us here in the center of this archaeological site. In the very center was a house that was built in the 1st century. You can see Peter's house that we just visited is right next to the synagogue. And this is the synagogue. In the Gospels, it's described many times as Jesus left the synagogue and went right into Peter's house. This house is right next to the synagogue. This house became a meeting place for a church. It became a house congregation. Actually, this is one of the very first home churches. And there was graffiti on the walls, there were paintings, there were artifacts that were left there that indicate that this was a place where the history of Yeshua, the teachings of Yeshua were taught, much like the congregation that meets in my house. Okay, welcome to everyone. As usual, we're going to start out with reading from the Torah portion of the week. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Torah portion of the week, it's 2,500 years old. The Jewish people have been reading the first 5 books of the Tanakh, what we call the Old Testament, one portion every week until they complete it. Now the sons of Noah who went to the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. We do more than just have a worship service on Friday afternoon. We have prayer meetings, we have worship times. We also host special events. We recently had a group of dancers from America do a beautiful performance on our roof. We invited our non-believing neighbors, and it was a wonderful event. This is part of building the community life around us. This is why we're there. This is what we do. Part of the life of the early believers was to meet together in each other's homes, to share meals together, to pray together, to be like a family, to show, as Yeshua said, they will know you're my believers, you're my followers, by the love that you show to one another. That's our model. And we're just very, very happy to be in this home, in this little community.